Season 2, Episode 2, Why Atlanta. Welcome back to the Daily Wireman Wisdom. I'm Gator. Last time I told you about the day I lost my job in Atlanta because I wouldn't step off that elevator when my foreman told me to. Today I'm going to tell you why I stayed on that elevator. This lesson comes from Billy Joe Potts, and it saved my career before it even started. I worked with Billy Joe when I was at Electric. That's where my apprenticeship started. And you will hear Billy Joe Potts' name a lot in my teachings because I worked with him on a sewer treatment plant in Ocala, Florida. And it was just him and I. My apprenticeship was one-on-one. It wasn't with a whole lot of people. It wasn't surrounded by, big job site. It was just a small job, me and him one-on-one. So a lot of the lessons he told me, they was very impactful. Every lesson I learned, I had to pay for. I mean, every last one of them. From being late to work, I had to pay a price. And so one day he sat me down and he was telling me about being a company man. I was his last apprentice after 40 years. And he didn't like his end result of being a company man after 40 years. So he sat me down one day and he was telling me about how at the economy, it used to be a union shop and, heavy in brotherhood and, it was the union way. And then the owners, John Latour, he pulled out and he took the union manuscript and he started a non-union program. And long story short, Billy Joe ended up staying with the company. Instead of going with the union, he stayed with economy. And I guess he was young in his career. But anyway, he told me about being a company man. And he was telling me the difference between being a good company worker versus a good company man. And when you're a company man, you're actually more of a do-boy. You're a yes man. You're a go-fetcher. You do anything to keep your job. So he always warned me about that early in my career. So when Tim looked at me that day and said, "Get off that elevator or you fired," all I could hear in the back of my head is about Billy Joe. Billy Joe lessons, Billy Joe's teachings, and how not to become a company man, because at that time, in that elevator moment, Tim was being dictated by his general foreman. He was a company man. So the general foreman was making him do something he didn't even want to do in the first place. So that's why I stayed, because all I could remember what Billy Joe said to me. And he told me early on, if my work is good enough, you don't have to sell your soul or your name for nothing. You just let your work speak for you. And so a lot of people now, they'll sell their soul or themselves short because they think this job is the only job in the world. But it's not. If you learn the trade, your craft, what you're doing, you'll always have a job. You never have to be a company man. And believe it or not, it's better to be a good brother, because I learned later on that my name traveled faster than anything else. Later on, I tell a story about when I left a job, and before I could even make it to my vehicle, someone was calling me about that my name traveled across the country. So I lost that job that day in Atlanta, but I kept something more invaluable. I kept something way more valuable. I kept my reputation with them 30 other guys. I kept my self-respect. I kept my ability to look at myself in the mirror And most important, I think, I kept Billy Joe respect. He didn't even know about this because he had retired by then, and I kept my name. So here's what you need to know. There will come a day when someone asks you to choose between a check and your character, between keeping a job and keeping your name. And brother, if you choose wrong, you might work steady for that company, but you'll never work steady in this trade, because once you're a company man and everybody know it, and it's your name, that currency is spent, man.